Okay, let's go. So what is the webinar today going to cover? So we're going to look at technical and tactical phrases in English that will help you to describe what a player is doing or is trying to do. We'll look at the detail of actions. So people often say to me, it's very difficult to explain what the player is doing or trying to do. So this is a good phrase that you may wish to, these are good phrases you may wish to use. Characteristics of a player, incredibly important. And it's going to help you explain more accurately, clearer, and more concisely so that you're able to write impressive scouting reports. Because if your scouting report doesn't make sense, there's spelling mistakes, the phrase is not right, it's going to be very hard for a sporting director or a scout or a club to really want to pay attention to what you're saying. So it's very important. Okay, so today we're going to focus on Gabriel Moscardo. I think a lot of people already know who he is or are well aware of him. And we're going to see how we can describe him. So just before we go into the videos, does anybody have any detail or ways they would wish to describe Moscardo? Like what kind of player is he? What are his strengths? What are his weaknesses? Anybody have any thoughts or opinions?
Unfortunately, I don't.
Okay, no problem. Have people seen him play before?
Yes,
Yeah?
good player.
Okay, so we'll just go into the action then. So we're going to look at some videos and then we're going to talk about some phrases that you can use to describe what he's doing and his skills. Okay. So there he is highlighted. Okay, so what can we say about this particular action? Did he have good positioning? Was he making the correct action? What can we say about this particular play? Is there anything there anybody saw that they liked or didn't like?
Ross, for me, the video is a bit choppy. So
Okay, let me play again.
Yeah, please.
How's it playing now? Was it better on that viewing?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Any opinions from anyone? Did you see anything you liked, disliked?
Think he don't press.
Okay. Excellent, right? So we'll look at some phrases here that you can use for this particular action. Now, I might have to play it a couple of times. So we can see him there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just pause it here so you can all see. So two phrases that you could use for this particular action: close down or get across and block the run. So this is to decrease the space for the opponent to move into. So you're going to close down or get across and block the run. So we'll just play it on. Okay. So what we can say about Moscardo in this situation is he failed to block the run in the defensive transition. You could also say he did not close down the attacker. So those are a couple of phrases you can use with this specific action. I'll let it play here. So we can say he failed to block the run in the defensive transition, or he did not close down the opponent in defensive transition. So those are the two phrases you can use for this particular example. Does anybody have any questions about that? Does it make sense?
Perfect sense, because because he was further from the area, he couldn't defend, and he couldn't chase the other player. So he should have blocked the run or closed down. So yeah,
Perfect.
at least.
At least, right? Yeah. Excellent, Kyle. So we're going to look at another one. So here he is here. Was that okay for everybody? Did it play okay? Do you want me to play it again? Let's play it again. So he's down here. Okay. How about that time? Was okay? Do you want to see it again?
I could identify him.
I apologize. Sorry, guys. So it's him here. Number 44. I will go to the analysis. Now you'll see it. Okay. So this phrase here, get caught high up the pitch, is when you're out of a defensive position because the team is attacking. And when the transition happens, you're not fast enough to get into that defensive position. So you could say here that Moscardo is caught high up the pitch because he's not where he's supposed to be. This is subjective. Maybe they want him there, but this is just an example. So to get caught high up the pitch is to be out of position in defensive. And another phrase that you can use is to spot the runner. This is to identify an attacking player that's running into space or into a dangerous area. So you can see here Moscardo's actually looking down. I don't know if he's tired or he's a little injured or his stamina's not so good or he's thinking about something else. But he's not looking at this runner here. So he's not spotting the runner, we say. And because he didn't spot the runner, he didn't pick up the runner. Now, spot the runner is to see them, and pick up the runner is to actually go with them. So pick up the runner is to follow and mark a free attacker. You can see he's free here. It could be Fagner's player, it could be Moscardo's player, we don't know. But in this instance, maybe he didn't pick up the runner. And we will see the consequences of this. So here he is. He's not spotted the runner or picked up the runner, and he's caught high up the pitch. So 3 phrases there for you. And I don't know what happened to the end of that clip. I apologize. Let's go to the next section. So these are the 3 phrases you can work with. Spot the runner, pick up the runner, and then get caught high up the pitch. So 3 phrases that are really important when you're describing the player's actions in a defensive transition. So if anybody saw anything else there, did any of you guys see anything else that you didn't like or you wish to comment on? I'll just go back to the video. So if you saw anything, just let me know.
Yeah. First, he was really tired. As soon as the other guy on the other side of the pitch got the ball, he looked down and was so frustrated. But one thing that we say here in Brazil, I don't know what happened before the start of the clip, but he seemed, as we say in Brazil, he was just marking the ball, not the player or the area or the zone. So that's another reason maybe why he was out of position. So yeah.
Sure, yeah. So he could totally be just marking the ball or occupying a certain space. So we don't know because we don't know what coaches his instructions are, right? But for this particular example, if he was not paying attention, these are the phrases that you could use if you notice a player's not aware of players around him. So let's have a look at how you can use it in a scout report. So if it is a frequent action, then we'll use these bottom ones. But if it's just one moment that you want to focus on, you say, he failed to spot the runner in transition, or he failed to pick up the runner. But if it's, like I said, something you see frequently, you can say he frequently failed to spot the runner in transitions, or he failed to pick up the runner numerous times. So those are two phrases you can use. And another one, in one moment, you could just say he got caught high up the pitch in the transition that led to the goal. So that's quite important because the result was a goal. But if it's a frequent thing, it's even worse, right? So he often got caught high up the pitch to show poor awareness. So you can add like a reason or why or what it shows at the end of the action. So you can explain the action and then add what quality it shows. So in this case, poor awareness would be the phrase that you would use, right? Okay, let's have a look at another one. So this is a better example. So I'll play it again. Sorry, I didn't use the cursor. I'll play it here. So it's him here. And I'll just go back to this one again. So it's this 44 at the bottoms of the screen. Okay. Any thoughts or any opinions on what he's doing or not doing? Anybody wish to have a go or?
Yes, he brings support to the defensive line, but he leaves the central area, which is the area he's supposed to cover.
Perfect. Excellent explained, Freddie. So what can we say? So we'll give you some more phrases to use. Freddie used some different phrases there about not covering the central area, or the area he's supposed to be covering. But you also used here that you're supporting the back line, which is perfect. Now, one phrase we use is to plug a gap. It basically means cover for. So to occupy a defensive position because a teammate is up the pitch. So here, Moscato is going to plug this gap. There's a big space left. He's just going to go and plug that gap. It's more common to say cover for. You cover for a teammate. But plug the gap is a nice word to use when you're talking about positions all over the pitch. So you could say that he's plugging the gap for his teammate. So you can see here's the space left open, and his teammate is here as well. So what else does that mean? As you can see here, he just moves towards the space, and then he just checks his shoulder and looks to see the opponent as well. So you could say he's plugged the gap and covered for the right back. Now, how do you use that in your scout report? Well, you can say in one moment, you could say he plugged the gaps well and covered for his teammate to stop the danger if it's one particular action. But if you want to make it more consistent and show that he's really intelligent and really got good spatial awareness, you could say he shows excellent awareness by plugging gaps his teammates left. He covered for them superbly. So those are a couple of phrases you can use and how you can use them in your reports. Okay, any questions from anybody? Is anybody unsure about anything? Wish to ask? Okay, so I'll go to another one. Here he is. Okay, so I'll play it again just in case you didn't get it. So how can we describe this action? Is there good positioning? What about the action that he did? But what can we say about what he did? Is there anything anybody wishes to add?
Ross, Dave Rogers, how are you doing?
Hello, Dave. Good, thank you.
Hiya, mate. You're okay. Just initially there, Ross, I think he gets himself into a decent position because he's closing the gaps pretty well. He reads the pass, but also for me, he blocks off the passing lane really well in that
Perfect.
first action. But then obviously it just looks like he takes a bad touch or he just overplays, which then gets him caught out on the transition. But initially, I think he gets into a really good space. And again, he blocks off that passing lane well for the first action. So I thought the first part of it, he done really well, in my opinion, mate. I don't know what you think.
No, I agree. I think you're absolutely right, Dave. It seems to be that case. And thanks for offering your opinion. That's good. So yeah, that's kind of like what I covered with this. So some of the phrases you used there, Dave, were really good. You mentioned shut off the passing lane. We're going to see that later. So what he initially did, and there's a mistake here, but he read the pass. So this is a phrase we use in English to read the situation. You can see what's going to happen before it happens. So he reads the situation. He reads the pass. And because he reads the pass, he's quick to cut out the pass. So cut out just means anticipate and then intercept the pass or the cross. We use cut out. So you're cutting through where the pass is going. So to cut out. And yeah, like you said, Dave, he just seemed to take a bit of a loose touch and then lost his balance, I think. Okay, so here are some phrases you can say. You can say he reads the opposition's passes well and cuts them out. Again, this is a very positive action. If you just want to use one action, one specific moment, you'd say he read the passes well and cut them out. You could also add higher up the pitch, so you can say where he does it. Maybe defensively, in the defensive third, he's not as effective at it, but maybe if he's pressing high, he's very good at doing this. So you can add where they're doing it, which is higher up the pitch in this case. So read the passes and cut out the pass as well. Does anybody have any doubts about these phrases or wish to ask? It's okay.
Ross, I have a question more related to data.
Okay.
You said there to cut out the pass. I feel like it's more of an interception than a tackle. In a database, would you put more in an interception or on a tackle?
Yeah.
There,
Yeah, it
right
would go down as interception, right?
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll look at another action here. So you could see him in the top of the screen. Okay, did that video play okay for everyone? Was it smooth this time? Excellent. So does anybody wish to make any comment about what happened here, what he did? Was his positioning good? Did he make the correct action? Okay, I'll go to the
I
phrase.
think I think it's a good.
Apologies. Rafael, sorry. Say.
No, I think it's a good position, and he tried a good pass on side, but I think it's the better pass is on middle.
Yeah, I agree. So the positioning is okay, right? It's nothing special, perhaps. Just for this example, though, just to get the phrases, we'll just look. So we're going to look at screen to screen. To screen is to protect the defensive line and cover the gaps that might be in front of the defense. So to screen. And if we play, you can say, so he sees movement behind him. So what he's doing is he's just screening. He's just looking along and moving along this space. Whenever you see a defensive midfielder or a midfielder just moving from side to side in front of the defense, he's screening. So this is an ability that we can analyze, excuse me. So what can you say? You can say he screened the defense and cut out some passes well. If it's a positive, of course. Now, if you really want to like show that he's very good at this, you can say he screened the defense well using excellent spatial awareness. So spatial awareness is a phrase you're going to need as it's a particular skill of a player, the spatial awareness. How good is a player's spatial awareness? And in this case, you can see that Moscardo was screening the defense. Okay, everybody wrote down. By the way, the PDF that I'm showing you today, I will share with you as well. So the webinar will be recorded and I'll send you the PDF so you can watch it again or you can just review it again on your phone. Okay, here's another one. So just what you were saying before, Dave, this is the phrase. I'm going to play that again.
Lado esquerdo buscando o Reinaldo. Alguma dificuldade ali no domínio, mas ele conseguiu acalmar e faz o toque de novo com o Carvalho. Por dentro, corta Moscardo. Sobra ainda é gremista. Lá no segundo pau.
Okay, so what can people say about this action? What do you feel like he did?
Esquerda buscando o Reinaldo. Alguma dificuldade ali no domínio, mas ele conseguiu acalmar e faz o toque de novo com o Carvalho. Por dentro,
Wait for the audio to
sobra ainda
quiet
é
him
gremista.
down.
Lá no segundo pau.
He did well in the first instance at cutting the passing lane, but just after that he was a bit disoriented and he's not going in the right way. Instead of probably go back and try to bring some support in the box, he go in the wrong sense and he's out of the action for this couple of seconds who are crucial in that kind of situation.
Excellent. Nicely explained, Freddie. So yeah, you're right. He did the first action right, like you said. So I didn't mark this phrase down, but after he shut off the passing lane. So yeah, what you can say here is he like you said, he becomes disorientated. Now, you can also use the phrase dragged out of position or caught out of position. So if you feel that he should be here, but he's moved here because he's caught the ball, you can say he's just been pulled out of position or he's dragged out of position. I'll put these phrases in later because I didn't add them now. But
Sobra ainda gremista.
like you said, Freddie, when he becomes disorientated or he's not in the right place, he's kind of ball watching. So a phrase we often use in English is ball watching. It's when you just watch the ball, you don't pay attention to the players around you. So like you said, Freddie, the first action he did, he was great, but then perhaps he just started to ball watch and go to the ball instead of just seeing what's going on around him. What do you guys think? Do you think that could be an experience? He's only 17.
Yes, probably.
Actually, I don't know if he's 18 yet or if he's still 17. So what can you say? So he is, sorry, Freddie, say?
No.
Okay, so he is screening the defense or protecting the defense. You can use both, but screening kind of just means side to side. We discussed that before. So we can see here that the passing lane is open. When we talk about passing lanes, we tend to say that they're either open. So the player in possession will try to open the passing lane, and the defender's responsibility is to shut off or close the passing lane. And we'll see that here. So there. Moscardo has read the pass, the phrase we used before, and shuts off passing lane. He knows what's going to happen, so he's just going to move to shut off that passing lane. And stops a dangerous attack. And like you said, Freddie, he just becomes a bit disorientated and watches the ball, right? So how do you use that phrase in your scouting report? So you can say he screened the defense and shut off the opposition's passing lanes excellently. Again, if that's a consistent theme, that's the phrase you can use. And again, if it's just another way of saying it is he shut off the opposition's passing lanes in front of the defense. That just explains the situation rather than how well or how frequent he does it. So just remember to add the frequency or the effectiveness at the end. So excellently or repeatedly. Okay, so how can we summarize Moscardo from these clips we saw? So we're going to talk about his defensive game only. On the positive side, he screened the defense well. He read the game superbly, shut off passing lanes excellently, and he plugged gaps competently. So there's 4 phrases there you can use from a positive aspect. On the downside, he failed to pick up runners in transition. He did not spot the runners, and he failed to close down opposition in defensive transition. So those are 3 phrases you can use with the negative side of it. Does everybody agree with that? Do you understand all the phrases well? Or is there anything you wish to add? Like, did you see something else there that we didn't discuss? Anything?
Hi, Ross.
No.
Ross,
Sorry,
just
who's speaking?
Nikolai.
Sorry, I didn't get your name on there, Nikolai. Thank you. Sorry, tell me.
That's okay. Now it's just because normally with the coaches I discuss the defensive game with it. It's also about the physical capacity. Like, does he cover the ground? How is his acceleration and turning and such? So I think not looking into the slides that is still to come, but I would add that into the defensive game, because also I see a player here that's very agile, you know, bursting into his defensive actions and stuff like this. So that's a point that I know many head coaches and other scouts will also look for in the defensive game.
Perfect. Yeah, I completely agree, Nikolai. Thank you for saying that as well.
Thank you.
I will explain later at the end of the webinar, but I'll be introducing a long-term 12-week plan webinar. So in this, the first session is actually going to be about agility. So how fast does a player move in those short spaces? How agile is he? His flexibility, his mobility, all of those things. We're going to look at phrases for that. But by the way, Nikolai, you explained that very well. The detail you explained was excellent. Okay, now if you want to put all of this together, there are two ways to do it in a scout report. If you're just doing a quick one, or you're doing like a quick summary, for example, strengths, weaknesses, you could just list it like this, really, really short, precise sentences. You don't want to be too long. So this could be like his defensive strengths. This could be like his defensive weaknesses. But if you're writing a more detailed report where you need to explain things, like where he is on the pitch doing these actions, then you're probably going to need to write more complete sentences. Also, it reads more beautifully, in my opinion. So you could put all this together in a positive by saying, in the defensive shape, he screened the defense superbly, read passes excellently, and shut off passing lanes well. So you've put all of those three aspects together in one sentence. If you were to then counter that with the negative aspect, you could just say, but in transition, he failed to spot and pick up runners and close down opponents running towards goal. So within those two sentences there, you've got five actions. Yes, you've got 5 actions in 2 clear sentences. So rather than like try to keep adding detail and start a new sentence or something like that, you just want to put it together in a nice way, and it will read much nicer for the sporting directors, other scouts, and the clubs. Okay, if by the way, if anyone's taking screenshots, you're more than welcome to do that. Anybody have any questions? You can ask questions about the way that we write, the phrases that we use, anything. Okay. If no one's got any questions, I'm going to go to the next player. So I'm just going to skip past a lot of this so we have time to look at something a bit more exciting with a player. Okay. So Stevao. Does everybody know Stevao? Has anybody seen him play before? If you have, how would you describe him?
Yes. Esteban, you 16, I think. There is 07.
Yeah, he's a baby, right?
Yes.
What would you say about him?
He's
Rafael?
very fast, pretty technical. He's so younger man.
Yeah,
1v1, excellent.
excellent. So we're going to look at some phrases with his 1v1 abilities. Has anybody not seen him play before? Or not even aware about who he is? Nikolai, you haven't seen? Okay, so this player's extremely highly rated here in Brazil, probably in Europe too. He's just started playing for Palmeiras since last year, so a lot is expected of him. Okay, and I think Caio, you prefer him to Hendrik.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And one thing that I like to add about Stevão is that he is like more objective. He aims the goal, and to do some plays, not just like dribble and, you know, like make something flashy, like Anthony, for example.
Okay. So a phrase you could use with that is he does things with purpose. So if you see a player who, like you said, just does a skill, a flick, maybe just passes back safely too much, you would say he's not playing with purpose. Whereas Stevao, like you described, plays with purpose. Like everything he does is to create something or score or do something in this way. So play with purpose.
Thank you.
A phrase you might want to use for like the mindset of a player, like the mentality, how they want to do it. Let's look at some videos then. Sorry, Nikolai, you're writing. I'll just wait for you to finish. Oops, I went way too back there. Sorry, I skipped far too far back. Okay, so here he is here on this right-hand side of the field. So we're just going to talk about his positioning in offensive phase. So you can see he's got a lovely in-swinging cross. But what about his positioning? Sorry, we'll play this video too. So, where does he typically receive the ball? And which position is he effective in? These are two things you might want to consider talking about when you're writing a report. So, from the clip, the two clips, where does he typically receive the ball? In what area of the field is he receiving the ball?
He received the ball in the right side of the pitch, and what looks good in these two videos is that he is able to receive the ball without opponents around him, so he has some freedom to attack the space and be able to make a pass or try to bypass a defender by running.
Perfect. Nicely explained, Freddie. So yeah,
Ross, it's Dave.
Sorry, Dave.
Hi, mate. Apologies. Just touching on Freddie's point there, you can see that he likes to receive it in those wide areas and exploit those spaces in front of him. But I think what I like about the boy is the way he really drives forward with the ball from outside to in. Really effective. And like you mentioned before, those 1v1 situations, he's real dangerous, especially with the pace and the control he's got with the ball. But really good clip, mate. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah, really nicely explained, Dave, as well. You used a lot of really good phrases there that I think will be useful for the other guys. One of them we're going to look at in a moment, but I agree with you what you're saying. He's a special talent. So, as you said, Freddie, we're going to look at one of the phrases here. Two of the phrases, excuse me. So, when a player does this, I apologize because the video is not there. When they're in that position here and they're kind of staying there, you can say they hug the touchline. That means that they're staying very, very far wide, just waiting for the ball because they know that they've got the space to receive. Another phrase as well you could use is hold the width. So how does he hold the width? Is he too wide? Is he too central, too inside? But it might be one phrase you use for the positioning. For example, Stevao holds the width mostly in offensive phases. So we know that that's the position he's good at operating in, perhaps. So that's where we want to talk about. Now, why is he holding the width? Why is he hooking the touchline? So he's working space. When we use workspace, it means that they're creating space and giving themselves space so that they can then do an action. If you're too close to a player, you can't cross the ball, right? But if you work the space, so you find space, and then you give yourself a space to do some working, You can cut in and cross the ball. You can find a switch play. You could do many things. But the phrase you want to use for this is workspace. He's very good at working space, like making his space and then using it effectively. So we'll just have a look at the video again. Okay, so he's holding the width here, or keeping the width as well. You can use a verb like that: maintain width, keep width. They all mean the same thing. And it's to wait in a wide position in space. So he's got lots of time here, right? Now that's allowed him to work the space. So to position the body and control the ball in space in preparation for the next action. He's allowed himself to have that preparation time because he's given himself the space. He's going to work the space. And because he's working the space, he's going to cut in. Cut in probably is a little bit more inside, I'd say. He's maybe cutting back a bit instead. But when you use cut in, it means he's running down the wing, but then he's going to cut in. It's very sharp movement to come back inside. So he's worked the space to cut in and cross. He's come back inside, you can say as well. Okay. So yeah, anybody got any thoughts on this action? Anybody want to add anything? Okay, so I'll show you the phrases, and if you want to talk, if you want to say something, just interrupt me, no problem. So in one moment, he hooked the touchline and held the width effectively. So you could say that more consistently, excuse me, rather than one moment. Frequently, if it's like a pattern, you can say he typically hugs the touchline and holds the width, as he's more effective here. So that could be something you recognize him doing very often. And that's the phrase you want to use. He typically hugs the line and holds the width. So we know what kind of position he operates in. And then he hooked the touchline. Why? To work the space to cut in and cross. Frequently, he typically hugs the touchline and is effective at working the space to cut in and cross. So this is something, again, as a trend you can use. Okay, let's have a look at another example of his ability in 1v1s. Okay, did that play okay for everyone? I'll play it again if not. I'll play it again. It's better. So we'll look at another example. Here he is here. And then another one. Here he is. Okay, so after watching those 3 clips, what can you say about his ability? What actions does he do? And is he effective? Anybody wish to have a go and explain what they see about him? I'll play this again. What about his dribbling? What about his technique? What can we say about it?
Hi, Ross.
Hey, Nikolai, you want to have a
Hey.
go?
Yeah, maybe not using the right words, but just roughly translated from our own language, it would be like a tight touch, like a close control of the ball.
Yeah.
So it's like stepping. Every time he steps, he has a touch on the ball, so it's very difficult to get in and take the ball from him.
Perfect.
Also, what I see in this 1-against-1 is maybe a bit like, tunnel vision. So maybe when he goes into a 1-against-1, he's overcommitting, so he doesn't see if there's another option available for him. But when he gets like free to do a pass or a shot, then he's like the control and the chip to the second post was very good.
Excellent. Yeah, brilliantly explained, Nikolai. Really, really nice. You used an excellent phrase there. One phrase that I think is fantastic for scouts. Tunnel vision. That's an amazing phrase because it explains exactly. You don't need to go into many words when you say this. You don't need to say, oh, he's stuck. He sees one direction. He just goes in one direction. No, tunnel vision just describes it perfectly. For those who don't know, tunnel vision means that your vision going forward is narrow. So you only see the way forward. You're only thinking about dribbling in this case, right, Nikolai? You're only thinking about just dribbling, getting towards the goal. You're not thinking about passing, switching play, maybe taking a defender away and then cutting the ball back. You're only thinking about going, dribbling. He has tunnel vision. So, yeah, I think that's a little bit of a weakness, but also a plus in some aspects too, right? Okay, so one phrase you can use is take on or go past. So this is quite a basic phrase. It just means to dribble successfully. So you'll often see in stats things like take-ons completed, excuse me, or successful dribbles. And go past just means like they dribble successfully past the defender. Go past. And I think Stebao does that very effectively here. So yeah, he went past the defender, which is true. And then you can start to add words that show his skill, his effectiveness. For example, effortlessly it's like second nature to him. It's easy for him. You can then also say he took on the defender easily. So we want to pay attention to this word because it describes how effective they are at dribbling. If a player does it, but he needs his strength, or his touches are quite heavy, so he relies on his strength to do it, we wouldn't say effortlessly because he's not doing it easily. So effortlessly and easily are very effective phrases to use for Stebao because it looks easy for him, right? So he went past the defender effortlessly. He took on the defender easily. Okay. So you can say he took on the fullback effortlessly. He went past the defenders easily at times. Now, at times means sometimes he did it, sometimes he didn't. So it's a nice word to use if it's not frequent. And this is one you explained before, Dave. So drive at. So drive at is when the attacker runs with the ball directly at an opponent to put them under pressure. So Stebal's very good at this. He's very comfortable doing this. So he drives at opponents. To drive at an opponent. Let's see the example. So there you can see Stebal's not scared to drive at defenders. For him, it's quite easy. So he tried to drive at the defender, but was unsuccessful. And another example. So he will drive at the defenders and he's aggressive with his dribbling. So you can use aggressive if it shows his mentality with the skill. So he will drive at the defenders. Like you said, Nicolaides, he's tunnel vision, just wants to go. So this time he is successful and wins a free kick. So you can say he often drives at defenders because it's quite common. It's most of the time he does it with a high success rate. I spelled success wrong there. Apologies. So with a high success rate, if it's something like 80, 90%, I'd say that's a high success rate, maybe even 70%. But that's a phrase you want to use. If it's less than that, maybe 50% or less than 50%, you can use a phrase like with variation of success. Okay, anybody got any questions about this phrase, drive at? Anyone not too sure about how to use it? Okay, I'll go to another one. So how is his control? This is what you were saying, Nikolai. So does he maintain close control at speed? So in this case, he actually fell over, but he still maintained close control. So you could say he maintained close control at speed and under pressure. So two things were happening here while he was maintaining close control. So that could be a phrase you wish to use with wingers, attacking players. If a player has very, very, very extremely close control, you can use a phrase like he has magnetic control. The ball's a magnet to his feet. Now, I would be very careful using that because the player really has to be able to do that. If sometimes he does it successfully, other times he's got a looser touch. Don't use it because you could be given a false impression. But if, for example, Lionel Messi, people can't get the ball off him, right? So his control is magnetic. So that's a word you can use, magnetic touch. Okay, so you can say he maintained close control at speed and under pressure superbly. If you see a winger and the ball just sticks to them, you can use this phrase. You can also use words like can. So he can maintain close control because he's able to do it, but he doesn't always do it. That's the thing. And in this case, he can maintain close control despite falling over and being under pressure. So we saw him fall over, but he was still with the ball and under pressure. So those are a couple of phrases you can use. Does anybody have any questions at this point?
Yes.
Sure, Freddie.
Yes, Ross. Yes, and at the opposite, if you have to describe a player like Galeno from Porto, that kind of player who push the ball and run after the ball, which is, in my opinion, the absolute opposite of maintaining close control. What is the typical phrase that you can use to describe that kind of player?
Sure. So it depends which way you want to spin it, because if you want to spin it as a positive, you can do. So you could probably say something like in transitions, or when the pitch is opened up, he maintains control of the ball in longer distances. You used, I think, the phrase we say play into open space. So he's effective at playing into open space because of his long touch, and that's a negative because you can then say he's unable to, the ball doesn't stick to him as well in tight situations. So I will put like an extra slide on this PDF to describe that, okay, with those words. But I would probably say that he is effective in transitions because he's long, he's heavy. I wouldn't say it's a heavy touch. I think that's been a bit unfair. A heavy touch is quite clumsy and not on purpose. So I'd probably say he's more effective in transitions because he likes to, he can only really touch the ball in front of him and run onto it. But like I said, Freddie, I'll put like a phrase in the PDF later.
Yeah, thank you, because there is a lot of players like this, and it could be positive, like in the case of Galeno, and I think it's good to be able to explain this.
Yeah, I completely agree. For example, a player with close control might not have the explosiveness and long distance run and be able to take a long stride and heavy touch, right? They might not be as effective at that. So I think you're right to talk about that. And I'll put the phrase in here ready to show the opposite side. Okay, guys, unfortunately, we were running low on time. So I'm just going to come to the end. So we didn't see any weaknesses. We didn't look at any weaknesses, unfortunately. So we'll just focus on the positives for now. So how can you describe Steval? So you could say maintains excellent maintains excellent close control at speed. He's aggressive at driving at defenders with a high success rate and takes on and goes past defenders effortlessly. So yeah, did anybody have anything to add there? Anybody wish to understand something a bit different?
Hi, Ross. Just a quick one again, mate, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Sorry, mate. Just would you touch maybe if you were doing a little report there, because he's such an extravagant player, full of potential and all that energy, would you maybe add a little bit in about his decision making or his game intelligence?
Yeah, totally. I would. It depends if it's excellent, then yeah, highlight it as much as possible, because that's an incredible aspect, right? If he's got all these ability with the ball and the intelligence, then you want to really show that. If it's more like a negative and a weakness, you probably just want to contrast it. So put all the good things there and then say, however, some of his decision making is lacking. Yeah. And then maybe show where it is, just to balance it out rather than make it like it's a big issue, because for some clubs that might not be really, really important. They might be happy to nurture the player, right? So if you focus on the strength but contrast it with a weakness, I think you're always okay with that. It's more like a side note for the sporting director or the scout. They can just say, oh, okay, he does have a little weakness. Are we okay to work with that?
Brilliant. Thanks, Ross.
Yeah, it's probably better just to mention it. If you don't mention it and they see it, right, then they might doubt you as a scout. So, questions? Does anybody have any questions? It could be anything, could be unrelated to the phrases we saw today. It could be a phrase that you know you've really wanted to know for a long time.
Yeah, I do, Ross.
Perfect.
Related to the reports, are you often more? You write more the topic, or more of a paragraph with phrases connected? Which is more usual?
I would say that probably if you're just monitoring a player, so the initial, let's say you're just doing a standard scouting operation and a player catches your eye as well. So what you'd probably do is you'd probably just write some quick notes down. You wouldn't go into loads of detail just yet. You'd just say, oh, this is an interesting player. He's explosive. He's got quick close control. He's got tunnel vision though. Just a few things like that. maybe it's for you just to go back to later. Maybe it's just to interest the scout or sporting director or club for them to say, go and look at him again. Or maybe they're already monitoring. The detail probably comes over the longer period. So if you're going to watch the player with an intent to really put on the list, or because they really want to see everything about that player because they really like him now. They're going to take action. So it depends, Caio. I think you want to... I always do like a bit of my way of working is that, because I'm not working for a club at the moment, but I tend to do like a surface observation. Like I'll put my players down that I like, that I saw, and then I'll watch them again and I'll go in a bit deeper this time. Like really try to focus on some of the aspects. Some of you guys who are already scouts, maybe you can tell me how you do yours. Everybody works differently, of course. But yeah, I think that's kind of like the standard. You do like a little bit of digging and then you go really deep later on.
Thank you, mate.
Yeah, does anybody have anything to add to that or wish to learn it, ask about a phrase that they're not sure about?
Yes, maybe just one doubt I have, Ross.
Sure, Freddie.
Because it was a very, very, as you said, a very interesting word to use, but I am not sure about how we have to write this. Is the turnout vision? Is turn, we write this turn out altogether or turn out separate? Because I never heard this word before, and it's something that is very interesting to use, and instead of spend 2 or 3 phrases to describe that kind of characteristics, it's we can use this in 2 words. So, but I don't know how we have to write this.
Sure. So can you see the chat box I put on the screen?
Yes, about Esteban, the fact that he has not like a peripheral vision, from what I have understand. This turnout, right?
Sorry, Freddie. So the word is tunnel vision. Can you see my chat on the screen? I put the chat box on the screen. I don't know if you could see it though.
Okay.
No.
Perfect.
And let me see if I can send it. Nick sent me a message, so I don't know where the chat has gone. So I'll send you I'll put it in the chat after. The phrase is tunnel vision. So tunnel vision, I can't seem to type for some reason. Tunnel vision is, imagine you're driving your car, Freddie. Yes. And then you go under the tunnel, right?
Mm.
Do you know what I'm talking about? The tunnel.
I have totally understand what does it mean. It's just the way we have to write this tunnel. Okay, I understand, because I use peripheral vision, which is I think not that good. I think tunnel vision is much more is a much more interesting word.
We do use peripheral vision, yeah. You can use that. People would know what it means. We do use it in English quite a lot. We've scouting. We would use it, just maybe not everyone uses it. Whereas what Nikolai used, tunnel vision, it's for me, in my opinion, it's a perfect way to describe that particular characteristic. English speakers would know what it means, and you can use it in this way too.
So would you say that he has tunnel vision, or you put it in a different way?
Yeah. I think it depends. If you see him get the ball, for example, you'd see like a 7-year-old boy who's very good at dribbling, just get the ball and just run towards the goal, right? He has tunnel vision because he doesn't think about what he's doing. He just goes with his instinct. But a 17-year-old player, you have to be a little bit careful. If you see him doing it pretty much every time he gets the ball, you could say, yeah, he's got a bit of tunnel vision because he's just doing it too much, and could be a negative. If it's sometimes he passes, sometimes he goes, and you could maybe say like sometimes he's got tunnel vision on occasions, and it could be a problem. You just got to pay attention to the frequency of the action that the player's doing as well. So a lot of words, and I'll list them. For example, often, frequently, regularly, on occasions is more like 50-40%. Hardly or not frequently is very low, right? So try to use the adverbs like this to show how often they do this, because I think that's important. For example, if you see a player do something bad and he only does it one time, if you say he's not very good at doing this, that's unfair on the player, right? You're making a bad impression on the player. So maybe you could say, not usually he's excellent at doing this, but on one occasion he just didn't release the ball when he was supposed to. That's how you use it. Okay, Freddie, by the way, I'll send that phrase in the PDF, okay? So you know tunnel vision.
Yes. Okay, perfect. But I got it from Nikolaj in the chat. But thank you very much.
No, it's great because you guys are contributing, participating. We get new phrases, right? Phrases that just come up, and I think they're very important ones, especially tunnel vision. Okay. So guys, just to finish with, I will be releasing a 12-week professional scouting report program. I'll send you the details if you're interested. The purpose of this will be very similar to what we did today. So you'll be able to explain player actions clearer, more concisely. You'll be able to use exact words to describe the player characteristics and skills. Explain tactical aspects to the player's game. Of course, identify player weaknesses with clearer words. So instead of writing 2 sentences to describe what you saw, you could maybe choose 2. For example, tunnel vision. Write reports that make sense for sporting directors and clubs. So this is really important. I have seen some reports sometimes that they're trying to explain what happened, what the player did, and the skill they used, but it doesn't make complete sense. If you send that to a sporting director, even if they're not English, maybe they are competent in English, they're probably not going to understand it. So your report's going to be wasted. Worse than that, you might not be considered respectable because you're not explaining it very well. So the objective is to complete more detailed reports. So we'll go through all of these things. What does it include? So we'll do weekly webinars, 12 in total for each week. The participation will be the same as today. You can ask questions, you can bring up phrases. Each week we'll focus on one particular aspect. So the first week is going to be agility, mobility, and physicality as well. So all the things that you mentioned before, Freddie, about when you're looking at players and how they're doing defensive actions, like quickly covering space, we'll be talking about those things. Also, there'll be online material. So there'll be videos for you to just go and have a look and observe and watch. After the webinar, we'll have a weekly task. So for the week, you'll be given like a little mission where you watch a player or a couple of players and then write some of these phrases down that you'll learn, and I'll tell you if you're using them correctly. And there's also going to be like some little tests in the online material to help you. And of course, I will review scout reports. So at the end of the module, I will send you a complete game of a player, and then you'll do a full scout report on that player. Talk about everything that you see. We'll do strengths and weaknesses, so you use short phrases, and then we'll do like the deeper analysis as well, where you write full sentences. Okay. So I'll just go back one moment. Does anybody have any questions about that or about anything we discussed today?
Yes. Just one question, Ross. You told that the webinar from today that you will send to us on PDF, and
Yeah.
and I want to know if it will be the same for the other webinars, for the videos who are online, because I think it's very, when you have like a big schedule as me, it could be good to keep this and then be able to work on the material later, maybe in a few weeks, in a few months, and build like a kind of glossary. So have everything on PDF is much better than take notes, and so.
Absolutely, Freddie. Yeah. So I'll just quickly show you. So inside the course, you'll see here that there's already material here inside the course. So physique, mobility, and agility. If we're going to talk about this section, we've got some videos and we've got some PDFs. And then we'll have some tests as well. Now with the webinar, after the webinar, there'll always be the recording there of the webinar, and I'll also include the PDF and the material that we did in the webinar. So every single week you'll get everything that we covered. So like you said, Freddie, if you're scouting on that particular night and you can't be there or you're working, then when you finish your job or the morning after you want to catch up, it'll be there for you to have a look, learn. And of course, the task will be there for you to do as well. So you're not going to miss out. I hope that answers your question, Freddie.
Yes. Yes, no,
Hello,
that's
Ross.
perfect that way.
Perfect.
Hello, Ross.
Hello, sorry, who's speaking?
Good day. Audu is my name. I'm calling from Africa.
Oh, hello.
I just wanted you to help us do something like every profession has its jargons. You understand?
Yeah.
There are technical terms that every profession uses when they describe things. I would love it if you can do maybe something like a PDF where you bring out some of these jargons and you explain them, so that it helps when you are writing scouting reports,
Absolutely, yeah. So what I'm trying to do with this, what I will be doing with this course, I'll do, is getting all the jargon, getting all the vocabulary, getting all the technical terms that you need. So as Freddie said before about a glossary, let's say you want to describe a player with a small build and you don't really know what words or jargon to use with that. You just click on this particular PDF here. I think you can see that, right? This one here. You just click on this PDF. In fact, I'll show you, might as well. So there'll be a video with the PDF to show you the phrases. Excuse me while it loads. Oh, I've clicked on the PDF version. So for example, you just go through this PDF here, and then you'd get like the vocabulary. I would add jargon as well, as you said. So let's say you're scouting a player and you don't really know how to describe him. And you just come in here and say, he's nimble. Perfect. That's the word I need. He's agile, he's nimble. And then, maybe the winger is a little bit different. He's like a little bit more muscular, but he's small. So you'd say he's compact. He's a compact winger. So yeah, I'm trying to give you all of the jargon, vocabulary, phrases, tactical, technical that you need. So when you're doing your scout reports, you just come back in here, find the phrase you need, and it'll all be easy to locate as well. I hope that answers your question, Aldu.
Yes, it does. That's perfect.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you for the question, Aldu. Anybody else have any more questions or?
No.
Just one last thing before everybody goes. I just want to share with you Jobs for Football. So I joined this community a few weeks ago, Jobs for Football. Nick added me to the community WhatsApp, and I have to say it's superb. I think the work that the guys do at Jobs for Football is fantastic. So they'll help you like with your career, post jobs, advice, tips. And in the WhatsApp community, there's always people sharing advice and tips. I'm going to be sharing scouting tips and information as well to help you. So if you haven't already signed up to Jobs for Football, I would do. You can put your CV on there and then they help you to locate jobs in football. Everything that you need for your career in football is included there. So like I said, really good work that they do and very valuable website community to join. So I think some of you guys are already part of Jobs for Football, right?
Yeah, and I'm part of it as well, Ross. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, Dave. It's excellent.
Yeah. I think there's over 350 people on the community, which speaks volumes, as you just mentioned, mate. So, but no, absolutely. Listen, outstanding tonight, mate. Thank you. Absolutely brilliant. What an education.
Thank you. You're very welcome, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've really enjoyed it. I hope you guys have enjoyed it too. And I hope you've got some value. Of course, that's the most important thing. I hope you've got some value from here that you can take with you in your scouting reports. And yeah, I hope to see you guys again soon. If you do wish to go with the 12-week program, please just send me a message, but I will send some information if you wish to do so as well. So yeah, once again, thank you very much. Good luck with your reports, your scouting, and of course, if you need any advice, please feel free to contact me. Okay.
Thank you, Ross. See you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ross, well done, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks again, guys. Bye.
Thank you.